Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and we're looking at Rocky 3. I think this is one that I have some memory of watching it as a kid. Um, Came out in 1982, so I was 6 years old at the time, and maybe my dad has watched this because I do remember seeing Sylvester Stallone fighting Mr. T, and probably because Mr. T was really big in the mid to late 80s because of the A Team, and I think he still has got a fan base throughout, me included. I like the guy quite a lot. Um, I think because of that, I kind of remember a little bit of scenes of it, but I don't really remember the story. I don't really remember the movie and all that stuff. So yeah, this can be counted as the first viewing of Rocky 3 for me, right? So just like the second movie, this one starts with the ending of um, the second movie, in which Rocky defeats Apollo Creed, and becomes the new heavyweight champion. Apollo kind of goes into sort of semi-retirement, or I think he's already retired. Um, oh yeah, before I forget, the movie stars um, along with Sylvester Stallone and Mr. T. We have, excuse me, Carl Weathers, Burgess Meredith, the coach, Talia Shire, Burt Young, and Tony Burton. And you have a small role by Hulk Hogan, which I was surprised to see. But yeah, it kind of made sense for having um, a wrestling heavyweight and icon appear in this movie. So after he wins the championship, he's crowned the world heavyweight champion. He over the next, I think, it doesn't really mention how many years, but it is after over the next 5 years, he defends his title around 10 times, winning each of them. And he's got a lot of fame, wealth, and he's got a lot of endorsement deals. He's made a lot of money. He and his wife are living it up. There is a scene in which Burt Young's character, um, Paulie, is a little upset because he has not been able to get any level of success. Anything, nothing compared to what Rocky has got, and he's kind of very bitter. They have a little confrontation, but in the end, they manage to patch things up, and Rocky gives him a job in his entourage kind of thing. He said, all you have to do is ask, and I would definitely help you out. So the main storyline is that there is this younger um, upstart who's made his way into the upper echelon of boxing. He is undefeated, and his name is James Sorry, not Slugger. um, James Clubber Lang. Sorry, and he is tough. He is very strong, and he is very, very athletic, and he decides to. He feels that Rocky has been fighting opponents who he knows he can actually defeat, and therefore will definitely win everything. And Rocky is actually thinking of retiring at this point because he wants to spend more time with his family. But um, at a unveiling ceremony for his statue in Philadelphia, uh, Clubber Lang comes and abuses him, and taunts him, and even taunts his wife, and tells him that you've been fighting all lightweights, and that's the reason why you have 10 victories. So you've never fought anybody like me. So give me a chance to win the world heavyweight championship from you. This angers Rocky, and he was initially planning on retiring, but he decides no, he wants to fight. So he finds out that Mick, his coach, has actually been handpicking the opponents. So because he feels that after Rocky won the heavyweight champion, his hunger and desire for has gone down, and therefore he would not be able to fight and win against people like Clubber Lang. So he's been choosing and handpicking the opponents as his manager and coach kind of thing. So he feels that he cannot win against Clubber Lang. Mickey is also having a heart problem, and he is really struggling with his health, and he is aging as well. So he doesn't want Rocky to do it, but Rocky asks him to train him once again, and he gives in. They fight, they train, but unfortunately this time, his heart really isn't in it. He's actually doing it on a Las Vegas style posh, with a lot of people around him, a lot of women around, and all that stuff. This is not the kind of training that Mick would have wanted, but he goes along reluctantly, and Rocky isn't actually completely ready to defeat somebody like Clubber Lang. At the fight, Clubber Lang, antagonizes Rocky, and then he pushes um, Mick, who tries to come in between, and this causes him to have a second heart attack, and he is taken to the back. Rocky wants to postpone the fight or cancel the fight at the moment, but he is forced to go in and fight. He's completely distracted, and he's not ready. And he gets initially he fights very quickly, trying to knock out Clubber Lang, but he loses. He loses his concentration, and Clubber Lang is able to knock him out in the second round. However, Rocky isn't worried about losing the fight. He just goes backstage to look at how Mick is, and Mick dies. So Rocky is completely devastated, and he just gives up on ever coming back into the boxing ring. Uh, Clubber Lang is he is absolutely arrogant. He doesn't like people. Throughout the movie, you can make out he is so full of himself, and he is very, very, um, arrogant and completely rude to everybody. Apollo Creed, he's also rude to Apollo Creed, who came into, he was a analyst for the match, and he's very rude to Apollo Creed, telling him, "I don't have time for has beats" and all that stuff. This irks Apollo, so he goes to meet Rocky and tells him that, I think you can beat him, but you need better training, so I offer to train you, and you can use my techniques. I'll help you in whatever I can, and you can come and do it in my, his gym and all that stuff. He agrees. Initially, Rocky isn't completely into it, but he slowly gets into it, and finally there is a rematch several months later against Clubber Lang, and this time Rocky is more victorious. He decides to take in as much punishment as he can, taunt the younger opponent into getting exhausted, and it's very clear to see. Even Apollo Creed is really surprised at this, and basically he outsmarts his fitter and more powerful opponent, and finally he knocks him out with the flurry of punches, and he reclaims the heavyweight championship, and that's basically that's how the movie kind of ends. The last scene is a kind of like a very friendly rivalry thing, which Apollo had actually wanted a favor from Rocky, and when he asked him, initially he doesn't tell him what it is, but we come to find out that Apollo just wants to have another fight, more like a friendly fight, to see if he can if he can beat Rocky, and they go back to Mick's arena, just the two of them, and they start to duke it out. But that's when the movie ends. You don't really get to see what happens, and that's actually a pretty good ending for this absolutely wonderful movie. So far it has been a very good run for me. I think I've enjoyed this one even more than I enjoyed part 2, and part definitely better than part 1. So for me, I think I know Rocky is kind of like, the first movie is kind of like iconic and all that stuff, but for me, I think I've been enjoying the movies as we go along. So as far as franchises are going, number 3 is actually the best one so far for me. I've enjoyed it quite a bunch, along with 2 as well. So I think this one, again, I'll have to give it an 8, but I find it more entertaining than the other 2. So pretty happy with this franchise so far. So I know it's, the reason is because I'm not really a boxing fan. I have watched a few boxing matches growing up, but haven't really been into the sport very, very long. So watching it as a movie, probably because Sylvester Stallone is awesome in bringing these characters to life, and bringing us entertaining stories in this kind of venture. Yeah, so anyway, 8 out of 10 for me. Thank you. Good night.